Trump administration, now that he's in his second term, he is, I think, going to try to use all tools at his disposal to try to prove that there is some sort of widespread voter fraud or meaningful voter fraud happening in our country. At the beginning of the month, there were some headlines pushed out about one of these steps that the Trump administration is taking. CNN, Trump administration demands state voter data, including partial social security numbers. The New York Times called it a quest to bolster a long-running claim from President Donald Trump concerning undocumented immigrants illegally voting. And the Justice Department seeking detailed voter roll data from over 30 states where they don't have the level of detail for the voter rolls that they're looking for. I want to read a little bit more from the CNN article on this. Again, this came out at the very beginning of this month. The Trump administration has stepped up efforts to obtain personal information about tens of millions of voters across the country, including seeking sensitive data such as partial social security numbers. The push, overseen by the Department of Justice, comes as President Donald Trump asserts a larger federal role in elections ahead of next year's midterms, which are set to determine which party controls Congress. In recent weeks, state election officials have received letters from Harmeet Dillon, who oversees the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, seeking unredacted copies of states' voter registration databases. The information includes voters' names, birth dates, addresses, and driver's license numbers, or the last four digits of their Social Security number. The agency has told states that the information is necessary to ensure compliance with a federal law that requires states to maintain accurate voter registration rolls. So, not a surprise, I don't think to anyone, that one of those letters from the Department of Justice went to the state of Washington and Secretary of State Steve Hobbs. He received a letter from the U.S. Department of Justice and Harmeet Dillon on September 8th, and it requests just that information. And they say that that's necessary to show that the state is complying with the National Voter Registration Act and HAVA, the Help America Vote Act. So before I get into what Hobbs' response to all of this is, which I imagine you would also be able to predict, first of all, can we do away with the notion that there's any sort of privacy left for Americans in America? Because one of their chief pushbacks to this is, oh, we can't give the Trump administration this sensitive private voter. What private information are you talking about? First of all, there's a ton of information about voters that is publicly available that you and I can access. I mean, you could go on and you could find out when I voted, what my voting record is. You can't see who I voted for, but you can see my address. There's a ton of information you can already get about voters online. So what is the sensitive information that these states don't want the federal government to have? Our partial Social Security numbers? Where do you think our Social Security numbers come from? The federal government. This idea that we have any privacy left whatsoever from the federal government is just outrageous. And that is the concern that Steve Hobbs says he has with providing this information to the federal government on our voter databases. This is from the Seattle Times. Trump's DOJ requests Washington voter data, including personal info. Hobbs said in an interview Tuesday that he and his team are reviewing the letter before making a formal response, but that most likely we will not give them that information. He cited privacy concerns and a recent Reuters report that the Trump administration may intend to share voter roll data collected from states for use by the Department of Homeland Security in criminal and immigration investigations. On Wednesday morning, however, Hobbs issued a more definitive statement saying he does not plan to release any information until the DOJ, quote, provides me information on what they plan to do with the data. He said his office will respond after he's had a chance to fully assess that information while working with stakeholders and ensuring our response meets both state and federal legal requirements. So there's so much going on in my brain about this, because on one hand, I just think it's stupid to cite privacy concerns, because again, the most sensitive information included in what the Department of Justice is asking for is arguably something the Department of Justice could already access through other means, and that is Social Security numbers. In this case, the last four digits of someone's Social Security number. All the other information is publicly available for all of us, except driver's license numbers, but they're asking for either your driver's license number or the last four digits of your Social Security number. So if they're concerned that the federal government is going to get this information and then they're going to hand it off to ICE, because remember, in our state now, they don't let ICE access our driver's license databases, then say, okay, well, we're not going to give you driver's license numbers because we're concerned that you're going to give them to ICE and they're going to use it somehow in their immigration enforcement. But, the Social Security number, last four digits, that's something that you could access. It would be more tedious, but you could put together anyway. So just give them the Social Security information. So there's really not a privacy argument to be had here. Now, if the federal government if our election voter database was only relevant to local and state elections, right? Then, yeah, like I don't see the need for the federal government to have it. But of course, voters vote for things that are federal. They vote for members of Congress. They vote for their US representatives, their senators. They vote for the president of the United States. So the idea that the federal government has no stake in knowing whether our voter rolls are clean state by state is absolutely ludicrous. But the reason I wanted to talk about this today is you've had our Secretary of State and Democrats in the state of Washington swear up and down and left and right that there just is not fraud happening in our elections and that we are not registering illegal aliens to vote and it's simply not happening. Okay, cool. Like, then prove it. It's such an easy step. It is such an easy step to say, no, this isn't happening. And we are finally going to just put all of this to rest. And we're going to give the Trump administration this data because we're very confident that we don't have large numbers of people voting who aren't allowed to vote. Why would they not want to do that? After all, remember the Secretary of State's office got super mad the other day about that Glenn Morgan report? Glenn Morgan of We the Governed saying that 14% of Washington voters have no social security number either at all or on file. And he said that means 1 in 7 Washington state voters are illegal under federal law. And the Secretary of State's office came out and said, oh my God, that's not even close to being true. We don't even require people to have social security numbers. And the number of people who don't is just minuscule. Okay, well then prove it. We could also, like, while we're at it, that would put to bed, the accusations of a stolen election, which Democrats, have said up and down isn't true, and I don't believe is true either. And then all these accusations that illegals in blue states are voting, that our vote by mail system isn't safe and secure. It isn't as if this is something that's not able to be proven to be true or false.
Now, I see what everybody in the comment section was talking about when I was literally, discussing this whole situation. And I'm kind of jealous because of the fact I was trying to catch this this topic at hand before she did. And man, shout out to Brandy Cruz. I actually love watching some of the stuff and listening to some of the things she has to say. So, as I was doing the research and I checked back in the recent 2 elections for governor, the blue, let's just say, liberals voted more than conservatives. Now, it decreased by a small population of Republicans, but it increased for the Democrats. And when I looked at it before, it increased. Actually, the numbers were a little bit on the difference because there were more people that was voting Republican and less people voting Democrat. So when they said they was talking about like 14%, I think it's way more than that. And let's put it like this. It might be double. Now, this is personal. I do, like I said, I'm putting myself out there on the dating market and I'm getting to know ladies every now and then. I'm not flirting with them. I'm not having that time. I'm just getting to know these ladies. And I was speaking to one lady in particular and we were talking. Now, keep this in mind. I'm a guy who has a lot of incredible knowledge, and I have an open mind when it comes to listening to people. And what I learned throughout the time, and learning from past relationships, I learned that women will literally tell themselves off. Like literally, they will tell you what you need to know. And they don't realize they're telling on themselves. So, as I was looking at this, like from a bigger picture, she gave me so much info, and I found out that she was illegal. She had no green card, no social security. but she has a driver's license. That threw me the fuck off. And I mean completely. So I see, and I'm gonna talk about this in a different situation, but this is part of where I think most of, and I'm just speculating that most of the money out of $14 billion have been funneled. So they are literally giving illegal immigrants driver's license. They don't have any green cards nor social security cards. Like, now I see what is going on. And from what I'm speculating, as I'm kind of seeing it really clear that the majority of the people that are voting Democrat are illegals. And I really think they rigged the governor election. This is a high chance it is possible. Now, I was not expecting to give this much info as of right now, but honestly, from what people I have that told me, and I like to read the comment section a lot, and I appreciate everybody for showing love to my channel, and I appreciate everybody who supports this channel. And once again, shout out to Brandon Cruz. There's going to be a huge situation, a huge lawsuit, and hopefully jail time for the people who decide to do this. We don't know who, but I'm hoping that something is uncovered soon, because just because this one guy is refusing to give the info, we know something's up. And I'm telling you now, you Democrats, man, y'all better start figuring out something, because shit is about to hit the fan. Y'all really fucked up. And y'all gonna be a lot of fucking people, Washingtonians in general, are going to be pissed. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And also, I'm going to link to this video in the description down below. Once again, shout out to Brandon Cruz, and I will tag her as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit the like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, this shit is about to be crazy.